My name is Tamika Collins.
My name is Cassandra Neal.
And I'm Marshall Simpson.
And welcome to our Unit 16 video. So my report was from the 2017 Higher Education edition, and it was about redesigning the classroom. So I thought of this, it was very interesting because I keep seeing these articles and reading about the makerspace and everything. So, and keep hearing how they redesigning like the libraries to make it more similar to a bookstore. So now they're talking about redesigning the classroom from the traditional desks in a rows and students sitting in a row to make the environment look more like a workforce. So say if you're in a nursing program, it would be set up like maybe a clinic where you have like a lab and a science, like something like a science lab. So they're talking about redesigning the classroom so it'd be more like preparing for the workforce. And so they were saying they want to incorporate more project-based learning instead of the traditional way of teaching. And so a lot of universities are taking on that aspect of redesigning the classroom. And again, they talk about how universities are sharing resources to help with the funding of this project. And then they have larger organizations outside of the university supporting them because coding and robotics and STEM, again, is a big thing. So these big, large corporations want to prepare students for the future. So they all funding and investing into this project. So it'll be more project-based learning and inquiry learning that help with redesigning the classroom. But my question was, I wonder how would that look for education? Because if you're practicing to go into the classroom and you're going to remove the tables and the desks and chairs, I just wonder how, those new incoming teachers will actually be prepared for entering the classroom for the first time, because it's nothing like really what you go to school for. But it was a very interesting report about redesigning. Again, they keep talking about how make children more ready and more prepared for the workforce.
I like what you're talking about when it comes to teachers, because I remember until I started in a classroom, I was starting as a substitute teacher, just being in a classroom with the teacher myself and learning, even though, you get up in front of the class and everything and you do examples. And anyway, I didn't really start to feel comfortable in the classroom. I was nervous until I
Right.
actually was in that classroom, because you really didn't have that experience. So
Right. And you
I think
can't learn it in textbooks.
yeah, exactly.
Everything.
So until you get in that desk and you get at that whiteboard and you get there and you spend hours and hours there, it does take a while to get comfortable. So I like what you had to say. I
And they
like that.
making it to like virtual reality, like they will make a virtual environments that students that's online, that they can actually interact with tools again. And actually, like if they doing a lesson going to the moon, those rover vehicles, they can
Mhm.
actually manipulate that. So I think it's really good. And I think it would really be cool. And
So
this was
that's
in
like the,
two.
yeah, the virtual lab that you did in your one. So it would be like
Exactly. It's
that.
like I'm
Okay.
I'm reading it all over again. So
Oh,
I
okay.
I think it would be great. I think it would be great. They're still doing the research and everything. So this was a 2017 report. And so hopefully 2021, we can see more of those labs and things coming to United States. Because I know it was in Japan that they were doing these research.
Oh, and we all know Japan's way advanced.
Right.
As
Cassandra, what was your report on?
yes, thank you. All right, so I did the 2016 K through 12 edition, the important developments in educational technology, and they kind of gave the timeline for time to adoption for 1 to 2 years, being like the maker spaces and online learning. 2 to 3 years was robotics and virtual reality, and 4 to 5 was artificial intelligence and wearable technology. And I found this interesting. It was written in 2016 and we're in 2021. I know we've discussed it before, but things such as wearable technology and artificial intelligence, we're seeing it more and more in the classroom, especially after this last or the 2020 school year. And I think it's going to be interesting, as you said too, to Tamika, at the end of 2021, this school year has been, I think, will continue to be just even more informative. But I know everyone this year has been difficult. But anyway, we're seeing a lot of that stuff being more integrated, and kids using the robotics, as you said, and virtual reality. All of these things have come to adoption, and I think in a more timely manner than they had even predicted. So I tried to read into the next report about where they predicted we were going. However, that one was written in 2017, so it kind of still aligned with what they were saying and was, going in the projected area. So I would like to see what and kind of where we're going. I think we all would, and we're just learning as we go. But anyway, I enjoyed reading this report, and I know we've all kind of discussed it before, but really kind of getting the kids in there and, integrating the robotics and things would help with inquiry-based learning and our project-based learning, and, trying to get kids to cooperate and just excited about doing stuff. None of the kids want to do anything without technology, as we were kind of discussing before. If they're in a disciplinary thing or any of that, they can't use it, they're not as engaged and not as part of their learning community. So,
and engagement is a big thing now in school. They want the students engaged in innovative learning. So I think all of this goals would be great for engagement and innovation.
Exactly, 100%. What about you, Ms. Marshall?
Okay, so yeah, I like, I like what you said about the adaption and everything. And what do you feel? Do you think you see us headed that way? Do you see us headed that way? I mean, the U.S., I know a lot of the adaptions, other countries are already there.
Right.
How do you think we're anywhere near, or we still have years to work on it? As far as where other countries are at?
Oh, from what I was reading, I think we all can agree we are light years, I feel like, behind compared to other countries. We just are. I mean, just the way that they're so quick to adopt other things, like you were speaking about, Tamika. You can't get experience being a teacher. It's not simulated. You can't.
Right.
I mean, you really can't. You can do 100. That's just not something you can prepare for. But they're trying different things, and and a lot of the reports were, it's just in public schooling, it's so difficult with bureaucracy and things that we have to oblige by, that it's really difficult to implement things that other countries have been able to do. So I don't think that we're anywhere near, but I know we're working on it. So I don't know how you ladies feel.
I think it's more accessible maybe for trade schools. I know in trade schools, they may actually have a classroom set up with what they're specializing in. That's the only thing that popped in my mind. But for K through 12 classrooms to actually get there with redesigning it, that it would look like, well, maybe home ec. I remember in home economics, my classroom did look like, it had the kitchen and and stuff like that. So I haven't seen anything like for as virtual and all that. So I think we still have a way to go, like you said, Cassandra, and actually catching up with K through 12 education as far as incorporate more and more technology to where it's just really redesigning it.
Yes, and I think our workforce isn't equipped for it at this point. Teachers were not trained enough on robotics, and I've mentioned multiple times I've had to have my 8-year-old, a couple times help me with some things like with technology, as I'm sure all of students, kiddos teach us just like we teach them. So, but we just don't have the workforce too, or we need more training and more, like you said, accessibility
and more funding. Always more funding.
Always.
Okay, guys, I read the 2020 Horizon Report, Teaching and Learning Edition, the trend scanning the horizon. And basically, it was a really short article. It was only 5 pages long. And so each part of it was short, but I took out the things that I thought really applied to what we're learning in this class, and basically the technology applications that they talked about in the article. The first one they talked about was social trends, and the biggest one, mental health. And this is a big issue for me because I firmly believe until we treat mental illness just like the other illnesses, just like cancer or like you know, autoimmune diseases, until we treat mental health on that same level with that same respect, it's still going to be an epidemic in the United States. And so one of the apps that they were talking about, and it didn't give a lot of information, so I did some additional research, is the Meta app. It's the META app. And basically it's creating an appointment with a psychiatrist, psychologist, group therapy, whatever you need on your phone. So other people don't have to see you go into an office and meeting with psychiatrists. Other people, you know, don't even have to know that you're having those meetings. So a lot, and then they give you graphs, and there's all kinds of information and help tools, and even some school psychologists are on there. And you know, like our school, they offer a free wellness center, so they do have that part of the Meta apps. There are schools that are now involved with this, and it's META app. I did read some reviews. Some students say without insurance, it's a little expensive, while other students say, you know, hey, it's completely affordable. They will work with you on insurance, just like if you go into a doctor's office. So, you know, it definitely is, if you have the insurance, it's a great, wonderful thing. And then also read that they do have payment plans that they'll work with you on that too. So it's not all free, but there are a few things on it. So technological trends, again, we covered AI in the article. You know, how AI providing feedback on student work and performance, refining language apps. But they had this, they were talking about Amazon, which I went on to Amazon and looked it up. Amazon has created a new app for Alexa, which I think is just, this is totally cool. It's called Alexa Education Skills API. And basically the schools get into this, the parents and students get into this, and the students can go, hey, Alexa, can you pull up my grades for math right now? And Alexa pulls it up. Or the parent go, hey, Alexa, can you pull up my students, my child's, how's my child doing behavior wise in school right now? And it will pull that report from the teachers, because the teachers can put all of this in thing. So, or the parent can say, hey, Alexa, can you send an email to my students my child's reading teacher to set up an appointment for a conference call so we can go through this. I mean, there's so much, and they're even working on connecting it to Blackboard and Canvas. So you can be on your phone, or you can be in your living room. Hey, Alexa, what assignments do I have due tomorrow? Or, you know, do I have anything coming up today that I really need to get on? And Alexa will tell you. To me, it's just totally cool. And, you know, it's time-saving effort, but the fact that you can, you know, just keep in contact with your students, teachers, and then the teachers can do the same thing, you know, I think it'd be amazing. It also talked about Google Apps for educators, which is Google Classroom. We all know about that. And it said in the year 2020, they had 110 million, over 110 million people using Google Classroom. So issues, and they're going to Facebook and they're going to Google and they're saying, look, student privacy is now becoming an issue. This is something we need to work on. So that was something that they were really concerned about. Economic trends. Okay, of course, the federal, they talked about how actually student enrollment in higher education is declining because, one, the population is declining, you know, and they said by 2020, at the end of 2020, student population would be down by 10%. So you're seeing less students decline in enrollment, but you are also seeing more diversity, students from other countries, and with more diverse backgrounds. So there is a higher education need for you know, reforms in tuition. Tuition is getting out of control. We all know this. Tuition keeps going higher and higher. So you know, because student debt is such a worrisome thing, you know, people are putting off having children. People are putting off buying those homes and buying those cars because we're trying to figure out how to get out of our student debt. So that's affecting the economy. And then there's students who don't go to school because the tuition is just getting out of control. So, you know, really they need to work on doing something. Federal government needs to step in and say, look, higher education costs are getting out of control. We got to do something about this. And then there was one thing that I really liked, and I tried to find a US version of this, but the UK opened up a new academy called Liberty Still Female Engineering Academy to address, how there's so few female engineers. I tried to find a US version, but there's not one. And I like that because my daughter's in getting her mechanical engineering degree at U of H too. So, I talked about lower birth rates and, and the need to reteach learning and teaching strategies in higher education, like not to help with the decline in student admission, like nano and micro degrees, competency-based programs, standards-based credentials, increased cooperation between institutions, and more blended learning classes. And that's some of the answers they came up with to the problem of lower, rates for enrollment. And then the last political trend they had talked about was, of course, political trends. And my thing is, I'm sorry, I think politics should be left out of school, and not just public school, not the younger grades, but all school. Politics need to be left out. I'm sorry. Politics can be taken care of. It just causes a lot of diversion. And from what I read, the major of adults, who are paying for these colleges for their kids, believe that higher education, with the politics, it's just going in the wrong direction. They don't need to go towards politics unless you're taking like that class, like political science, But other than that, politics needs to stay out of college. So that's
something separate, like church and school. Church and school should be separate.
Exactly.
I think that should be separate as well.
Church should stay out of education, and
Right.
Unless you're studying different cultures and different religions on that basis. But as far as the Bible and Christianity or Islam, all that, their beliefs need to stay out. And the same with politics. Republicans, Democrats, anybody, they need to stay out of school. That's my personal opinion, but that's kind of what this article said too, is a lot of adults agree with that. So any questions, ladies?
Those are great information, a lot of great information.
Yeah, and I really like the one on mental health, the meta, and I think I'm going to check that out myself.
It kind of remind me of Teladoc, where you can call and speak to a doctor now, the video conferencing.
Exactly, it's that kind of, but it's for psychiatrists. And these kids, especially the ones that are going right out of high school into college, there's a lot of pressure on them. They've never been on their own before. So all of a sudden they're on their own, they're having taken care of everything and go to work and go to school at the same time. That's a lot of pressure, and a lot of them drop out because of that. This helps those students. So in just any, even if you just need someone to talk to, you're having a bad day, you need someone to talk to, here it is. There's group sessions and all that kind of stuff on there. So I thought it was a wonderful app, and I'm definitely going to check it out myself.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at that for sure. I used to Reroll myself, where you can just check in, but I don't have insurance right now. So, I mean, it's affordable, like you had mentioned before in our discussion or prior, and it's a good alternative, and it does, help with your mental check. You can just do it on your phone. If I need to, I can, talk to the psychiatrist or the psychologist and get, kind of talk down off the ledge, like, or,
Exactly.
I think we can all use that after this class, but it has been really fun talking to y'all.
Yes,
and I really enjoyed this unit. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day.
Bye, y'all.